Hi, Ginger here. Do you have your reading book? I want you to turn to page 85. We're going to learn how to highlight and annotate. This is the reading here. It's called The Nation's Fastest Growing Minorities. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is to do a timed reading because you learned how to do that last time. And so let's do it. Here's the reading. On page 85, it's 250 words, just this page. Don't turn the page, just page 85. And I want you to read it for 2.5 minutes. You're going to need a timer because I'm not going to time you this time. You're going to have to time yourself. 2.5 minutes. And remember, if you finish, I want you to go up to the top and read it again and read it and read it until the timer goes off. Okay? So go ahead and read this. I'll be back in 2.5 minutes. How did it go? How many times did you read it? Did you take time to write down what you remembered after you read it? That's an important step. Okay, so now you have another evidence as to how you're reading, and hopefully you're starting to read a little faster. Okay, let's take a look at this. Page 85, the reading, and we're going to learn how to highlight and annotate this reading. So you might want to take a shot at it yourself. Turn this video off for a couple minutes and try to find the main idea from this first paragraph and then what this second and third paragraph are talking about. Let's get started by looking at this graph right here. This graph is partly in the past and partly in the future, and you can see it's in 10-year chunks or decade chunks, and that has to do with the 10-year census, the CENSUS. Every 10 years they count everybody in America, every single person, supposedly, hopefully, and then they send out reports of all this data of how the populations are doing, where they're living, how many people are of every ethnic group. And so you can see that in the 2000, 2010, 2020, which is the years we've lived through, one of these bars is going up super fast, and that is actually the Latino population in millions. So over here is the millions, 20, 40, 60, 80. Do you remember how many people live in the United States? Do you know? 330 million people live in the United States. So that you can see in the Latino population, right here, it's about 65 million out of 330 million. Okay, so the other line to pay attention to is this second line right there. It's blue in your book, and that is the Asian American population in millions. So part of what I want you to see is how quickly it's growing, and these are the predicted growth patterns in the future. So you can see that the Latino minority group in the US is growing faster than the Asian American group. And then down here are the percents of population. Okay, now that we've looked at the graph, we feel like we know a little bit about what this article is going to be about. Go ahead and highlight and mark a couple of these paragraphs, and then I will get back to you and show you how I did it. Okay, see you in a few minutes, maybe 15. Hi, I'm back. Okay, let's look at how to highlight and annotate this article. You can see that I highlighted the title, and when you're looking for the main idea of the whole article, it's almost always in the first paragraph and repeated in the last paragraph, especially for a longer article. It's called a summary, if you can find a summary, or if you can find an introduction. Those are both signs that you're going to learn the main ideas. And in this article, now that you've read it and you know what your reading rate is, I have found the main idea right here at the beginning. 2 important minority groups, significant and continuous growth, Latinos and Asian Americans. You know that Latino means Spanish speaking, right? It means people who speak Spanish and also are learning English or know English. And Latino can be people from Mexico, from anywhere in South America, Central America, maybe not Brazil, right? But like Colombia, Peru, Chile, uh, Honduras, Belize, those are all Spanish-speaking countries. There are many, many Spanish-speaking countries. So Latino just means like English-speaking, right? It means Spanish-speaking. And if you think, who speaks English? Well, there's many countries that speak English, and they just call them English speakers. Okay, so now that that's clear and we've found the main idea and we've labeled it MI for main idea, and made notes here. Latinx and Asian minorities increasing. Big arrow up. Okay, you see other things I highlighted. Largest number, legal immigrants, Asia. That's also interesting, but it's not the main idea. We have to have both groups, Latinos here and maybe Asians on the next page. That's my prediction. Okay, let's look at the rest of the highlighting. I'm going to move me over here. Okay, we've learned about the census, right? The counting the population every 10 years, and this is from the 2000 census, Latinos largest minority group. From the 2010 census, the Latinos continued to be the largest group and increased by 43%. Whoa, that's a big increase in 10 years, right? More than 4 times higher than the growth rate of the total population. So all of that is worth noting. Latinos increasing minority, 10 years up 43%, 4 times higher than Gen Pop. That means general population. And let's look for the reasons for that increase. Is it immigration? Yes, it's immigration, but it's also having babies here in the US, having lots of babies. So those are the 2 reasons for the increase and the biggest minority status. All right, let's keep going. 50 million plus. Latinos are 16% of the population in the US. I wrote that right there. So you see how I'm just taking the information from here and putting it over here in a short form, abbreviated form, so that I don't have to read this article again. All the information I've written, and writing it helps you remember it, right? Just writing it will help put it into your memory. All right, so the next part is about where they live. Traditionally, big cities, LA, Houston, but now smaller cities, cities with Latino populations of 100,000. States without big cities, South Carolina, Alabama, and also the population has tripled between those in 10 years. So this is the prediction from experts, and I wrote that right here, 2050 prediction. There will be 100 million Latinos in the US and 25% of the population in 2050. So what does that mean for the total population in 2050? If the Latinos are 100 million and it's 25%, right? So they think that in 2050, the population will be 400 million. Alrighty, so that's a very interesting article. Here's the graph that we already looked at before we started reading. I have put my notes on it, just placed us now. Here we are, and here we have millions of people. Here are the bars. I labeled them because this stuff down here is a little hard to process, so I just put the labels right on the lines. And then my prediction is that the next page is going to talk about Asian American growth in the US. And your homework to email to me is to highlight and annotate the next page, page 86, and send it to me. So let's see if we can pull that up. Here we go. So your homework is to highlight and annotate page 86, these 2 paragraphs, and take a picture and email it to me, okay? And I think that's all for now. Wow, I must have been talking quickly. Did I forget anything? I don't know. Okay, I guess we're just zooming along today. Okay, I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.